It's July 5th here in Seoul, and I'm Kim Dami. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour. Starting with the first police questioning of the driver involved in a deadly car accident in Seoul. The 68-year-old man told investigators that sudden unintended acceleration caused the accident. He also insisted the car's brakes didn't work at the time of the accident. An exit poll indicates the UK's Labour Party is on course to win a huge parliamentary majority in the general election, bringing the 14 years of Conservative rule to an end. For the first time in its 42-year history, the Korea baseball organization surpassed 6 million fans in the first half of the season. It took them just 418 games to achieve the milestone. The driver behind the deadly car accident that took 9 lives in downtown Seoul on Monday night faced police questioning on Thursday. He argued that a sudden unintended acceleration caused the accident. Lee Seung-jae has more.
Police in Seoul have conducted their first interrogation on the driver behind the deadly car crash that killed 9 and injured 7 others near City Hall on Monday night. The questioning took place on Thursday at Seoul National University Hospital, where the driver is being treated with 4 investigators and a lawyer present. During the 2-hour interview, the driver reiterated his initial statement that it was a sudden unintended acceleration that caused the deadly accident. According to the 68-year-old driver, surnamed Cha, he tried to step on the brakes, but it was stiff and could not be pushed down. As Cha is still recovering from his injuries, the police plan to continue questioning at a later date. Additional investigations will be conducted to inquire about the basis for determining sudden unintended acceleration, whether there were any abnormalities during the vehicle operation, and why the driver was driving in the wrong direction in the first place. It has been confirmed that the driver had begun accelerating from the time he left a hotel parking lot, so he's also expected to be asked about the reason for speeding at the time. On top of that, the police will question Cha over why he drove towards a group of pedestrians on the sidewalk. Police also say that based on an ongoing analysis of the sedan's event data recorder, the suspect significantly pressed the accelerator shortly before the accident. They also discovered that the secondary brake light did not light up during the accident and that no skid marks were found at the scene, contradicting the driver's claim of having applied the brakes. A Seoul court on Wednesday denied an arrest warrant request by the police, saying that he has no reason to evade police question, as he's currently hospitalized and under police protection for his personal safety. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Senior doctors at Asan Medical Center began reducing patient care starting Thursday in protest against the government's medical school quota expansion. Now, patients took to the streets, urging those doctors to return to duty. Cha Yoon-kyung has more.
At an emergency committee meeting of professors of medicine at the University of Ulsan, affiliated with the Asan Medical Center, they said that they will take intensive measures to ensure that there is no disruption in the treatment of critical illnesses and emergency care, but begin reducing non-essential treatments and surgeries instead of going on a full-scale strike. On the first day of readjusted medical treatment, the emergency committee predicted that major surgical operations would drop by 29% compared to last week. Hospital management expects there will be no massive disruption since there are about 10,000 outpatient appointments as usual. In response, a group of 92 patient organizations staged a rally in central Seoul on Thursday, calling for doctors to end their ongoing walkout that has disrupted public health services and caused fear among patients. On the same day, Lee Sang-min, the Minister of Interior and Safety, vowed measures to minimize any negative impacts on returning trainee doctors, reiterating that the government will support them. Minister Lee once again explained the necessity of medical reform and urged trainee doctors to return to work. Lee also asked the residents to engage in dialogue to actively explain their demands. The government will announce measures for trainee doctors who have not returned to work in the near future. Cha Yoon-kyung, Arirang News.
The National Assembly voted to pass the contentious opposition-led bill that calls for a special investigation into the death of a Marine during last year's floods. The ruling party lawmakers walked out in protest during the vote. Our Lee Si-hoo reports.
On Thursday, the National Assembly voted to approve the opposition-led bill calling for a special prosecution probe into the death of a Marine during last year's flood rescue operations and alleged government interference with a preliminary investigation into the case. It passed with 189 votes for and 1 against amid the ruling People Power Party walkout and protest. The voting followed a day-long filibuster launched Wednesday and an ensuing clash over its end declared by Speaker Woo Won-sik. During the filibuster, the PPP asserted the bill was politically motivated and targeted President Yoon Suk-yeol. The opposition bloc, led by the main opposition Democratic Party, reiterated the need for a special investigation, bringing up allegations that the government and military officials interfered with the initial internal investigation. But the bill was actually first introduced during the 21st National Assembly, also by opposition lawmakers who passed it unilaterally in early May. President Yoon Suk-yeol later vetoed the bill and it failed to pass a revote by the Assembly. The DP then reintroduced the bill as its first legislative goal when the 22nd National Assembly began its term at the end of May. Following Thursday's vote, PPP leader Chu Kyung-ho said the party will not be attending the opening ceremony of the 22nd National Assembly, originally scheduled for Friday. Chu also requested that President Yoon Suk-yeol too does not attend. Meanwhile, a high-ranking official at the presidential office called Thursday's legislative move a violation of the Constitution and a shame to the constitutional history. Lee Si-hu, Arirang News.
An exit poll published after voting ended at the UK's general election on Thursday says the Labour Party is set for a landslide victory, ending 14 years of Conservative rule. Now, the result would mean party leader Keir Starmer would replace Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister. Shin-Young reports.
The Labour Party is set for a landslide victory in the UK general election. BBC, ITV and Sky News announced joint exit poll results at 10 p.m. local time on Thursday after voting ended. According to the exit poll, Labour is projected to win 410 out of 650 seats in the House of Commons, which would make party leader Keir Starmer the next Prime Minister. Incumbent Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's ruling Conservative Party is forecast to end 14 years of rule, picking up just 131 seats, marking the party's worst electoral performance in its 190-year history. Right-wing Reform UK is expected to capture 13 seats, entering Parliament for the first time. The centrist Liberal Democrats are predicted to come third with 61 seats, while the Scottish National Party, which was third in the 2019 election, is expected to lose 10 seats, its worst showing since 2010. Voters from across 650 constituencies in England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland headed to the ballots on Thursday after Prime Minister Rishi Sunak in May made a surprise move by calling for an early election. However, due to economic turmoil, inflation, worsening public health care, and increased immigration, a Labour victory was predicted even before the election began. Opinion polls consistently showed Labour with a lead of around 20 percentage points over the Conservatives, with support in the 40% range. The Labour Party has focused on centrist policies and pledged to rebuild public welfare services and achieve economic growth. Shin-Young, Arirang News.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has agreed to send a delegation to negotiate a new ceasefire and hostage deal with Hamas. The announcement comes a day after reports emerged that the Palestinian militant group had sent a new ceasefire proposal. Israeli Prime Minister's office said that Netanyahu had also discussed the new ceasefire and hostage release deal over the phone with U.S. President Joe Biden. During the talks, the Israeli leader also emphasized his firm stance that he will end the war once all goals have been achieved. Meanwhile, the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah targeted military bases in northern Israel for the second day straight, with 200 rockets in total fired. They say it's retaliation for an Israeli airstrike that killed a senior commander on Wednesday. Now, the entire country is officially under the influence of the monsoon season here in South Korea, with heavy downpours and strong winds. How to remain safe during this one? Let's turn to Professor Yoon Jin-ho this morning. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So last year, we saw so many sporadic showers and downpours, so often. Will we experience something similar again this year?
Well, we are right at the peak of the summer monsoon, the rainy period of the summer. So whether or not we're going to have a rain today, tomorrow, it doesn't matter. We are going to see those types of sporadic showers and downpours. So like this morning, we did have a bit of rain in Gwangju area, but likely in the next week, we expect that kind of a rain after another one in whole week. So just prepare for kind of the rainy days in the coming weeks.
Right, the past few days, it's been on and off. And we've seen subway stations everywhere being flooded and cars being, stuck in flooded streets. Circumstances that affect many people in the central region who have to commute every morning, every night. Professor, if we do have to take public transportation, what do you suggest that we do?
Well, first of all, you have to check your weather forecast more regularly these days. So I know it's an extra thing to do in your daily routine, but this is going to help. And then after you hear the forecast, prepare things accordingly. For example, you need to check where you got flooded in the past, because those areas will get flooded again. And then, if possible, you have to avoid those routes that flooded in the past, like underpass and so on, like that. So just take the extra caution as much as possible.
So keeping ourselves updated frequently on those weather updates. Now, is there any way we can keep ourselves from heavy rain, especially for those living in apartments or those living in semi-basement flats that we have here in the country?
Well, as I told you, you have to check your surroundings, like, for example, your sewage system around you. If there's anything stuck in the middle, you have to clean that by yourself or just call somebody to help. And then when the forecast say that there's going to be too much rain, it is best to stay in the safe places, not in the underground places. So, so because of that, you have to watch this weather forecast carefully, and then the government warnings and so on. When the time comes, just avoid and then stay in the safe place as much as possible.
Right, sounds like prevention is the key as always. Now, how long will this monsoon season last this year? Until when?
Well, the monsoon season is about a month long. That's what we usually kind of study in the textbook.
Right.
So meaning that we have a minimum 2 to 3 weeks to go. Of course, it depends on where you are. Like Jeju will end it a bit earlier than Seoul. But, even after this, the monsoon, the rainy part of the summer, we are going to have hot days in late part of July and August. So, in these 2 months, July and August, the weather is going to be the key, important things to watch for.
Right. When talking about harsh weather conditions during the summertime, we have to talk about typhoons. They're usual but unwelcome guests every year. Should we brace ourselves for for some strong ones this year as well?
Well, we have to wait until like late July to tell you more. But the things happening over the Atlantic is very far away. But the Atlantic Ocean has a Category 5 storms, which is the earliest Cat 5 storms on record over that region. Meaning that when the tropical cyclone is developed, because the ocean is so warm, there's a high chance to be very, very, grow as a strong one. So, we have to watch it carefully, but the season is likely at the end of July to August and early September. So, not right now, but we need to watch carefully for that.
Right, Professor, you mentioned this earlier. It's not just the rain. Heat waves will be on the way shortly after the monsoon season. The question is, how hot will it be after the monsoon season comes to an end? I mean, temperature-wise, will it be as high as 40 degrees Celsius, some say?
Well, it is very difficult to tell how high it can go, but we certainly expect to have those hot days. And like according to the KMA, just released a report on the the June, the last month is the climatic characteristic. The June was the warmest on record. So, of course, it doesn't mean that July will be the warmest or the August will be the warmest on record, but we just have to embrace that we are going to have hot days. And then you have to find a way to stay safe. For example, drink enough water for when you are outside, or stay in the shadow areas as much as possible. So those precautions will help.
Definitely. Stay hydrated. That's the key point. All right, Professor Yoon, thank you so much for joining us this morning. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
The Korea Baseball Organization's league's attendance for the 2024 season surpassed 6 million fans before the All-Star break on Thursday, and younger fans appear to have played a role in the great popularity. Our An Sung-jin tells us more.
Screams and shouts echo around the stadium. Any South Korean ballpark will make you want to get up on your feet to join the cheering crowd. Baseball has been known as having a relatively older fan base, with the average fan being in their 50s. But over the past few years, a particular trend stands out. It's the increasing number of younger fans and female fans that come to watch the game.
I think I come here to enjoy the delicious food and cheer with other people. The cheering culture is well developed, so you get to have fun with your friends.
I think people are interested because the cheering culture is so well developed.
I would agree on the cheering culture, but also new TV shows on baseball are trending these days, so I think that also boosts the popularity.
The KBO Korean Baseball League looks set to see a record-high 10 million stadium goers by the end of the season. And according to a major ticket office for the league, 4 out of 10 audience members are in their 20s, which is nearly double what it was in 2019. And more than half of the audience is female. Then what attracts this younger age group? An official says there's more to Korean baseball than its outstanding cheering culture.
As we work with more OTT services such as YouTube as well as Instagram, fans get to enjoy more of our content. There are also many content creators that the Korean Baseball League has to compete with, so we plan to develop more sports content that captures not only young fans but other age groups too.
With the vibrant cheering culture attracting more and more fans, an afternoon at the ballpark looks to be one of the hottest tickets in town. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
Good morning, I'm Kim Seong, and now we turn over to the world now. French government spokesperson Prisca Thévenot, who is a candidate in the country's snap parliamentary election, was attacked while campaigning in Paris as a growing number of candidates and activists are being targeted in the run-up to Sunday's final round of elections. Thévenot was putting up election posters with members of her team in the southwest of Paris when a gang of around 10 youths assaulted them for trying to stop them from defacing party posters. While Thévenot herself was not harmed, her deputy suffered an arm injury and a campaign team member activist ended up with a broken jaw. French Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin said police arrested 4 people, including 3 teenagers. Prime Minister Gabriel Attal condemned the attacks and called on French citizens to reject the climate of violence and hatred that's taking hold. 30,000 police are set to be deployed across France for Sunday's second round of parliamentary elections to ensure order is maintained. Following Tuesday's crowd crush at a Hindu religious event in India that left 121 people dead, the Indian police said on Thursday that they had arrested 6 people in connection with the incident. A police report said that some 250,000 people gathered to listen to preacher Shiraj Pal Singh, also known as Bol Baba, while the organizers of the event only had permission for a maximum of 80,000 people. 4 men and 2 women were arrested for the deadly crush in India's northern state of Uttar Pradesh, all of whom were aides of the religious leader. Preacher Baba stated on Wednesday that the stampede was caused by antisocial elements with no further explanation given. Officials said that by Thursday, the dead, which includes 112 women and 7 children, have all been identified and their bodies given back to their families. This summer in Russia is proving to be one of the hottest seen in more than a century. Moscow broke its 1917 temperature record this week, and many cities across the country are sweltering in temperatures well above 35 degrees Celsius. According to the Phobos Weather Center, on Wednesday, the mercury rose to 32.7 degrees Celsius in Moscow, topping the record set in 1917 for that day by half a degree. Phobos stated that records were broken across the country from Russia's Pacific coast to Siberia and regions closer to Europe. While many Muscovites are finding relief in the city's fountains and parks, Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin urged residents to take precautions amid the heat wave. And finally to New York's Coney Island and the annual 4th of July hot dog eating contest, where competitive eaters gorged down on dozens of hot dogs. This year saw a new champion in the men's category, with Chicago's Patrick Bertolotti chomping down on 58 hot dogs in 10 minutes to take home his first mustard belt. Defending women's champion Miki Sudo broke a record with 51 hot dogs in 10 minutes, once again making history at the contest. The American spectacle, held annually on Independence Day, began in 1980, when the winners of the first ever competition tied with just 9 hot dogs each.
Good morning. It did not rain as much as expected overnight, but moisture in the air is making it feel quite muggy under cloudy skies in the capital this morning. The lingering monsoon rain in some parts of the country should let up in the morning hours. Then mostly sunny skies will shine down with very strong UV rays, extreme levels for Jeju and some of the south coast regions today. And making matters tougher are scorching temperatures in certain parts of the country with heat advisories. The capital area will have lower daytime highs today under cloudy skies. So Seoul gets up to 27 degrees Celsius, but Gyeongju soars to 34 degrees this afternoon. Drink plenty of water and take it easy today. Also, food safety is a must around this time with that heat and humidity. Meanwhile, more monsoon rain is in the forecast this weekend. It will rain down heavily on Saturday in the central regions, but the south will be rainy on Sunday. With that in mind, let's take a look at the international weather conditions.
We thank you for watching New Day at Arirang. We'll be back next Monday at the same time, 9 a.m. Korea time.
하나, 둘, 셋.
Hey, Mr. Cupid, make sure you listen to what I say. I may be stupid or quite naive,
끝없이 쏟아지는 포토스팟. 휴대폰 한 대로 감당할 수 있겠니? 웰컴. 24시간 불이 꺼지지 않는 나라. 감당할 수 있겠니? 웰컴. 웰컴. 24시간 불이 꺼지지 않는 나라. 감당할 수 있겠니?
We are here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Friday, July 5th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin, and this is News Generation. Today, we're joined by Cheska Dainho.
My favorite day. Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday. Walter Lee.
Lovely to be here.
Lovely to have you. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. Now, as usual, we're going to start with our news feed, which covers different hashtags and news items that have been trending online over the past 24 hours. We start with another car crash that injured 3 pedestrians at Seoul's National Medical Center on Wednesday afternoon. The driver, a man in his 70s, claimed his taxi suddenly accelerated and went out of control. A simple region drug test administered after the accident showed he tested positive for morphine. The driver says he had been taking various prescribed medications for health issues. The police booked the driver on Thursday and are investigating further. They have requested detailed analysis of his hair and urine samples from the National Forensic Service. Now, staying here in Korea, the Seoul Metropolitan Council officially abolished the Seoul Student Human Rights Ordinance on Thursday under the chairman's authority. The council announced that the chairman took this step because the Seoul Metropolitan Office of Education missed the legal deadline of July 1st to promulgate the abolition, protesting the move. First adopted in 2012, the ordinance was introduced to promote student welfare by prohibiting corporal punishment and discrimination by teachers in Seoul, as well as giving students the freedom to choose their hairstyle and clothing. However, it faced criticism for negatively impacting teacher welfare, which intensified after an apparent suicide by an elementary school teacher last year who reportedly suffered from constant harassment by parents. Finally, hikers at Jeju Island's Hallasan Mountain Summit are reportedly facing long waits, sometimes over an hour, to take photos with the popular natural stone marker inscribed with Hallasan Natural Protection Area Baeknokdam. Despite other markers being available, this stone remains the favorite. The Hallasan National Park Management Office is suggesting using alternative markers to reduce congestion, but many hikers still prefer the original. The stone marker, established in 2011, is not at the mountain's highest point, which is currently inaccessible due to trail damage. So I want to ask you guys, why do you think visitors are so passionate to take photos in front of this stone marker, and what kind of measures do you think should be implemented to really alleviate this congestion?
Yeah, so we've talked on the show before that we are the generation to wait in line for things, but then I realized that a lot of hikers are come from all different kinds of generations, even from the young to the very, very old.
Why are you laughing?
So it's kind of interesting that we are willing to wait. You know, a lot of people are willing to wait for cafes and restaurants, and now it seems just for markers on a mountain, which I don't quite get, but I guess there are many people out there that want that beautiful view.
Yeah, they want to record how they went up to the peak of the mountain.
It's all for the gram, I think. It's all for the gram. So I am not surprised that people are actually wanting to wait. But as far as what we could do, I guess we could try and, well, they've tried to do other markers and they've figured out that that hasn't worked. But maybe limit the amount of people going up at a certain time, maybe like 100 people per half hour or something like that. That might work, but I can imagine that it would be quite a terrible time up there to wait an hour just for a marker photo. That's why I would never do it, but hey, a lot of people love to wait for things these days, which I have no time.
Okay, because you're super busy. On the other hand, I think there might be some people who are willing to wait even for an hour to take this photo. For example, like you, Jessica, how about you?
I mean, I personally would not wait, but as always, I beg to differ with Walter in terms of the newsfeed. As a hiker myself, I think there's a lot of arduous labor that you go through to finally get to the peak. And the only photo that you could probably take when you actually hit that mark is only two: the view and the stone that says you are here, you've completed this much. So I can see why there's so much appeal for the stone, but I did not know that the line would be that long.
Like an hour long.
Yeah, and I feel the passion that these people have to take that final photo. And also I beg to differ that not everyone is taking it for the gram. Because I don't think some generation of those people that are lining up actually do have the Instagram.
Oh yeah.
But
But
I do think it's sort of a pride for the hikers, and I don't think it will ever change. I guess one of the ways that they could probably alleviate it is to have several more markers, but hopefully that would alleviate some tension. But as you can see, as a hiker, if they're lining up to take these photos, I think they're already aware that they have to line up. Yeah, they have to wait in line, and all the other hikers before and after them are probably in the same mind. So I think as a hiker, you probably wouldn't mind it as well. Yeah.
Well, I think that as long as there are no safety issues related to waiting, I think that will be totally fine. Maybe I should start hiking and take a picture with a stone marker sometime very soon.
And let us know how long you had to wait wait to finally get that photo.
Okay. Okay. That was our news feed for this Friday. So we're now going to move on to our main discussion of the day. It's been quite a while since we last talked about K-pop here on NewsGen, and recently K-pop fans were very thrilled to see Jin, who is the eldest member of BTS, complete his mandatory military service. Now, just a day after returning, he held a meet and greet event with fans. However, what was supposed to be a joyous occasion turned quite controversial. Take a look at the screen to find out more. Celebrating his return from 18 months of military service, BTS member Jin held a fan hug event last month, inviting 1,000 fans for individual hugs. Unfortunately, some fans reportedly crossed the line, attempting to kiss him without consent. This led to another BTS fan filing a complaint with the police through the national petition system, citing sexual assault. While K-pop artists strive to connect more closely with their fans, there are different ways to do that, each with their own pros and cons. Right, so let's first take a closer look at this event, because this is one of the many occasions and events that were organized by K-pop artists and or the management agency to help fans really become more closer and meet their artists up front, right?
Yeah, so just to give a little background to our viewers, in the idol fan culture these days, there are many events such as the hugging, the high-fiving parties, and also the fan signing, both virtual and in person. And virtual kind of grew obviously during COVID. And also fan meeting tours. So these days there is an insanely popular Korean drama called The Lovely Runner, and the main actor, Hyun-woo, he's doing an Asian tour, and I know Eugene is so happy about it.
I'm a big fan of it.
And so is Astro's pop singer, Chanwoo. And so you can see that actors and singers alike do a lot of these fan tours as well. And whenever I see the clips, I see how excited and almost like emotional, overwhelmed these fans get to finally meet their favorite
Some
star.
even cry because they're so happy.
I know, they get really overwhelmed in emotions. And most of the time, the fans are very orderly and mostly just emotional. But as we have seen in the clips, there have been some unseemly behaviors of certain fans. Some have been outright rude over certain web messengers that communicate with the stars. Others, like at an event that we just saw that occurred during BTS Jin's fan meeting, where a female fan actually tried to abruptly give a peck on Jin's neck and later posted about the event, kind of bragging about it, and the other fans got really upset. And this was his very first fan meeting after he finished his military service, and he really wanted to meet and greet the fans that waited for him. And I suppose it crossed a bit of line more than being just an overzealous fan.
Right, so this incident kind of stirred a lot of controversy, especially not only among BTS fans, but in the K-pop circle as well. So Walter, can you please tell us more about how fans have been reacting to this incident?
Yeah, so I was reading up on some BTS Reddit posts last night and seeing the reaction of it at this moment. And you know, a lot of the fans are actually quite upset with the over-the-top fans who, for example, the one who did the neck peck. And they are actually well embarrassed to be associated with those kind of people, because obviously they're considered extreme fans to the point of where they're actually ruining it for the other fans. Like, for example, if that, you know, we don't know if Jin will do another hugging event at all due to this one situation, and this could ruin it for thousands of other fans that were wishing to take part in that, or even the fans that were wanting to take part in, because I'm sure there was tons of people who wanted to go to that event. So we'd like to think that the world is safe sometimes, but in some situations, I mean, let's have a look at the John Lennon incident from the Beatles. Like, he had a fan as well. He was spotted signing something on the day of his assassination. We obviously don't want that to happen here in South Korea, but we don't know what could happen if we are allowed to, you know, let these fans come too close to their favorite idols.
Right, and when we go back to this BTS Jin's neck peck incident, the incident actually happened at an event that was organized by K-pop stars and management agencies. They're part of this growing effort in the K-pop industry where they use various platforms and events to strengthen their bonds with their fans, the artists, to be more exact. Now, to give you a better idea, let's first find out what platforms and methods are out there and what fans think about them. So I recently visited the recording and fan meeting event of Arirang's weekly K-pop show, Simply K-pop. So let's first take a look at what fans there had to say. Hey everyone! As K-pop fans, do you guys use those apps where you can interact directly with your favorite artists?
If so, which ones do you use?
Weavers and right now Mnet plus chat.
I have used Weavers with Ijinyeok, and then I have used there was one platform it was named Universe. I used Universe to talk with CIX, the group I'm seeing today.
위버즈도 사용하고 스타쉽 버블도 사용해요.
用过 Bubble.
Since you all have experience using these platforms, what do you like about them? And on the flip side, what do you think could be improved?
I think it's so great because it's working, but just if you're in Korea. If you're not in Korea, I was in Mexico before and I never have army membership because it was not necessary. But right now, if I try to go any event or any television show, it's necessary to have it.
I think they are quite a good way to get to know the idols more, their inside lives, and you can see when they practice. It depends on the idol because some of them don't even talk through the messages. They just don't care that much, which I think also reflects their personality. Some of them, I do speak some Korean, but sometimes I don't understand some things and the translator doesn't work very well.
좋아하는 가수랑 소통하는 건 좋았는데 다른 팬들이랑 같이 소통하니까 그 팬들 얘기 들어주면 저의 얘기 못 들어준다는 게 좀 장단점이 있는 것 같아요.
优点的话就是可以跟idol 传讯息嘛，然后idol 他也很会很仔细看那个 bubble 这样，所以感觉有一些互动。然后缺点的话，希望可以比如说传照片，对，这样可能会更有趣这样，对。
So we've just taken a look at what kind of K-pop fan platforms that these fans can use to interact or communicate with their artists more closely, and what fans think are some of the benefits and drawbacks of using these platforms. So back here in the studio, apart from what was mentioned in the VCR, what are some other pros and cons that do you think these platforms or services or apps have?
Yeah, definitely the pro is that you can communicate with your favorite star directly. I mean, what more could you get as a fan to be able to be closer to your favorite stars, right? So there are monthly subscription type communication platform that allows these fans to communicate directly with their favorite stars.
Right.
Some of the fans did mention, but these with the monthly subscription, you get popular contents and more importantly, exclusive contents that only paid members can actually watch and use. So these include videos, even radio shows, showcase and updates even about the fan meetings that we just talked about. So when you get on these messenger apps or these private chats, you can actually send messages to your favorite star, and in the group chat they provide an experience as if the celebrities are having a one-on-one conversation with you in real time, which is a huge for fans like these. And when a celebrity checks or sends a reply to the message appears in the personal or group chat room, and when a celebrity checks your message, the one disappears in the chat room. So it's almost like
you're really messaging.
Yeah, you feel really excited because you're on a real-time basis with your favorite star. And they even send the stars, the celebrities, send personal selfies or these encouraging messages to to their fans saying oh, have a great day, or oh, cheer me up, I have a test. And they would give very personalized messages to fans, which they kind of see it as an exclusive experience.
Right. I mean, these platforms or apps, they provide so many services and things that these fans would really like. So I get why they're all passionate about using these services and why they're becoming bigger. But on the flip side, Walter, have there been any drawbacks or cons about these?
Yeah, so let me talk about some of the cons that I think that this sort of situation has, especially when it comes to, spending the money. Now, I am one of those people who are where are you getting the money from to come all the way here and spend all this money?
You're such a father.
Yeah, I'm such when my daughter grows up, she can be a fan, but I don't want her to be traveling all over the world just to follow one person. But do what you want with your money. I mean, it's your money at the end of the day, but I wish I had the money to do that, and the time for that matter. But so yes, excessive money spending on these applications, as well as coming all the way to Korea, which is great. But just to, I actually personally know people who come all the way just to see one concert, or maybe just see an appearance, for example. Also, when it came to these applications of talking to people, sometimes the idols don't actually get back to you.
Oh, yeah, that's what I heard.
Now, there was a situation with a member from G-Idol where she wasn't communicating with her fans, though people were paying for her services to, communicate back and forth between the fans. This was obviously something that angered the community, and they can't get refunds as well. That's another thing. Now, another incident that we actually talked about here on the show was the incident between the Karina and the fan relationship, when she basically said that she was in a relationship. This caused a lot of kind of betrayal with the fans. Now, this is obviously getting too close, in my opinion, when it comes to being a fan. They can't, if you can't have your own personal life as an idol, why would you want to be an idol in the first place? So I think that the amount of pressure that is happening with these idols is growing and growing and growing, and this can be due to excessive fanism.
Right. As much as the K-pop fandom culture is continuously growing, I think that there is still room for a lot of improvements. Oh, yes. And as we're always trying to work to foster a healthy fandom culture, to ensure that these K-pop fan platforms, which are becoming more bigger worldwide, serve their purpose effectively, I want to ask you guys, what efforts do you think are needed from both the artists and also the fans?
That is $1 million industry question.
And it's a hard question.
It is a difficult question because when it comes to an emotional relationship, obviously it's very hard to put yourself in a certain place where you can see things clearly. And obviously between the stars and the fan, it's one of the most emotional relationships that you can have, right? So while I completely understand as a human being what it's like to, respect and admire and almost like dote over someone, I really think that we have to understand that it's a human-to-human relationship. And not only the fans, but also the idols and the celebrities themselves, they both have to draw very healthy boundaries, because at the end of the day, whether they're dating or not, or whether they're doing something in their private life, they also have a life outside of their job as an idol or as an actor or as a K-pop star, and the fans need to understand that. And also because, as Walter mentioned, there's a monetary transaction there have been some very rude incidents from both sides. So I really hope that on both sides they understand that there has to be mutual respect for this to continue.
So respect and healthy boundaries.
I hope so.
They're always really hard.
That's what I'm really hoping. But maybe I'm being too idealistic.
But if we kind of initiate these discussions through our News Gen show and through our numerous episodes where we talked about K-pop, maybe we'll see that working.
Yes.
Maybe. Okay. What are your thoughts on this? Are you skeptical?
I am a little skeptical, but in a way to, I think, make this a more healthy relationship, management does need to get involved. There needs to be a middleman, and that's just the way it is, because as Jessica mentioned, it's not just coming from fans onto idols, it's also the reverse, where idols have also not so much attacked fans, but maybe not respected them as much as they want, or as they should, because at the end of the day, the fans are the ones who have made them famous, who have made them popular, who have made them, to who they are. So there should be a mutual respect from both sides. I actually have seen a recent viral clip of a member from Stacey who was at the airport, and she was giving very sarcastic waves and whatever, and people were getting quite angry with her about that, and a lot of people attacked her online. But at the end of the day, it is a two-way relationship, just like every other relationship. Like Jessica mentioned, there should be respect from both sides. But in saying that, we can't always have the respect, and so therefore I think there needs to be a middleman, and that should be the management.
Right, definitely. Management does seem to be playing an important role, and will play an important role in fostering a healthy K-pop fandom culture between fans and artists. Now, before we wrap up, one thing that we like to talk about more is fan service, which is like a unique term here in Korea that describes what artists do to show their affection and gratitude to fans. I think that this is really what kind of pleases the fans and kind of makes them want to send their love and be part of the fan club of these artists even more. So before we say goodbye today, let's listen to what some of the K-pop fans that you just saw in the VCR consider to be a good fan service from their favorite artists.
I really love PCs, the pictures. It's my favorite. And I really hope in the future they send to global fans too, because I was in the other side and it's super hard. You always see the pictures and the girls enjoy it with like, oh, I really want to be there too. So it's hard, be far. I hope they can make like more global for the girls too.
I think they should maybe care also about like social media, etc., because so that people who are far away can feel closer to the artist, because sometimes you can feel like there's like a gap between the people who are here and the people who are outside.
만나지 못할 때 위버즈나 그런 걸 소통해줬을 때 좋은 것 같아요.
就是很亲切的打招呼，其实就很好啦，对。
Right, so last but not least, I would like to ask you, what are your thoughts on this after watching these interviews from the fans?
It's very clear to me that a fan's favorite fan service is in any ways they can get a little bit closer or feel that intimacy between being a fan and the star, because obviously, I mean, even the word star itself, it feels so distant, right? So it seems like all the fan services that make these people happy is more intimacy, but as we discussed, with healthy boundaries and hopefully respect.
What about you, Walter?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, obviously, as an older guy here, I don't really think fans, like, I think maybe, like, listen, I like people as well. I like stars, I like musicians, etc.
That sounds so creepy for some reason.
Yeah, but for some reason, like, I don't want to be as close to them as these fans, but I totally get the... I get the appeal that like people, you know, make you happy. These idols make you happy, but I still think that you need to distance yourself in a healthy way.
You should.
Healthy boundaries.
Yes, I should at least.
All right, that's all the time we have for Newsden today, but we're here every day from 9:30 to 10 a.m. Korea time, bringing you more topics young people are talking about. Special thanks to Cheska Dainha.
Pleasure's always mine, thank you.
And Walter Lee.
Lovely to be here.
And thank you everyone for watching, and hope you have a great weekend. We are News Generation.
Welcome.